Hello, this is Nancy Harkness, a romance author, and this is Writer Unedited, where I just sit at my writing desk, nothing fancy, and chat about whatever's going on in my writing life and sometimes other parts of my life. And you guys can ask me questions in the comments. Anybody who's attending, please say hi in the comments so I know who I'm talking to. Sally says, me too, got on moving treadmill, opened my head. Ow, Sally, be careful. Ouch. We were just discussing the hazards of jumping off treadmills because Gail said she jumped off her treadmill to come to this live, which I am very, very appreciative of, believe me. So back to official stuff. If you miss a previous live, you can always find them on my YouTube channel, and I will put the link in the comments below. We have 5 viewers. Say hi, guys, so I know who I'm talking to. Just put it in the comments. Just hi. That's all I ask for. Or hello. Or howdy. Whatever you want to say, just so I know who I'm chatting with. So first things first. Super Bowl's coming up, right? Okay, to be honest, I could not care less. And I'm going to take a wild guess at who's actually playing in the Super Bowl. And I want you to be very impressed if I get it right. I think it's the Chiefs and the Eagles. Am I right? Does anyone know? Does anybody care about the Super Bowl who's on here? Just put in the comments, yes, and tell me what team you're cheering for. I guess I'm cheering for, I'm not cheering for anybody. I don't really care. I live closer to Philadelphia, and I went to school outside Philadelphia, so I guess I'm cheering for the Eagles, maybe. I can't even remember who's doing the halftime show. No, it's not Shabuzi. I was hoping it was Shabuzi because I really like his music, but I think it's somebody else. Gail says, not I. Yeah, you don't care either. All right, fair enough. However, if anybody does care about football, I just want to point out that I have a very handsome, sexy quarterback named Luke Archer in the All-Star Antes Up. So if you are a football fan, or even if you just think football players are fun, you can always grab the All-Star Antes Up and get, he's golden haired. Let me see. No strings, no rings. That's Luke Archer's motto. As the champion quarterback for the New York Empire, not to mention a self-made billionaire, Luke has given up on serious relationships. Women only want him for one thing, the thrill of being with a superstar. And he can't risk love distracting him from his next Super Bowl victory. But when his best friend announces he's retiring from football to spend time with his wife and kids, Luke feels like he's missing out on something much bigger than his career. The assistant concierge in Luke's luxury high-rise, Miranda Tate, fled her family's dairy farm to come to the bright lights of New York City. She works hard to move up and sends her spare earnings home to her brother on the farm. When she and Luke meet, there's an instant attraction, but they're in completely different leagues. Could Miranda be just the woman Luke needs to win the most important game of his life? Probably. And of course, this is the second book in my Wager of Hearts series, so Luke bets on love. Literally, in the first scene, I don't even think it's the prologue. Is it chapter 1 or a prologue? Now I can't remember. Prologue. In the prologue. And this is the book right after the CEO buys in, by the way. So, and right before the VIP doubles down. Sally says, how did you happen to write a football player? So, it's kind of interesting, Sally. I originally wrote a hockey romance called Empty Net because I was a huge hockey fan at the time I was writing these books. And I really wanted to write about a hockey goalie. But my then agent had been actually very high-level figure skater in her youth. And she used to have to share the hockey rink, the ice at the hockey rink, with hockey players. Sorry, at the skating rink with hockey players. And she was not impressed with them. She did not think they were sexy. And so she did not want to try and sell a book about a hockey goalie, although I still love that book. But I really wanted to do a sports hero because I think it's fun. And also sort of in tribute to Susan Elizabeth Phillips's book, It Had to Be You, which is one of my all-time favorite romance novels in the world. And it's about a football player. Well, the hero is, actually, he's a coach at this point, but just, set in the world of football. And so I asked my agent if I switched him up to a quarterback, if that would be better, and she said yes. So also I was doing a billionaire series, The Wager of Hearts, at that point. So Luke fit right in. Hockey players tend to not be billionaires, right? And it was really fun to write this book. Now, I'm sure I've said this before. My one huge disappointment is that I gave Luke 5 Super Bowl rings because at that point, no one, including Tom Brady, had won more than 4 Super Bowl rings. Maybe I gave him 6. Now I can't remember the numbers. Anyway, he had one more ring than Tom Brady at the time I wrote the book. And my sports expert informed me that nobody could ever win more than 5 Super Bowl rings. And then Tom Brady proved us wrong, which bums me out. But what can you do? Sally says, haha, reminds me of the pickleball versus tennis folks. Yeah, that's kind of a heated rivalry too, isn't it? Who gets the courts? Yeah, I have like a pool and tennis club behind my house. And it used to just be pool and tennis. And now they've added pickleball because pickleball is so popular, of course. And I have to say, pickleball is a much noisier sport than tennis, not just because of the sound of the ball against the rackets, although that's part of it, I think. But I don't know, people seem to yell a lot more when they're playing pickleball. I don't really understand that. But hey, what are you going to do? I don't mind. I think it's fun to hear people having fun. So it doesn't bother me. I just notice the difference. Okay, so away from sports, but on to still a bit of a contest. Jersey Romance Rating Month has begun. I talked about this last week too because we hadn't started yet because it started February 1st. But this is the challenge that I founded where we try to write 30,000 words in the 28 days of February. And this year we have 74 folks signed up to write like crazy. And believe it or not, as of yesterday, one person had already crossed the 30K finish line. She had written, so turns out she hadn't written 30,000 words. She had to edit a 145,000 word historical novel before, I think today or maybe tomorrow. Anyway, she had a very tight deadline. And we do allow you to count edits, but you do it at a 3-to-1 ratio. So if you edit 1,500 words, you have to divide it by 3, so you can only count that as 500 words toward the challenge goal. But trust me, this person, this writer who hit the 30K already because of her edits, she will also write a gazillion more words because she's done this challenge multiple times, and she is incredibly fast and prolific when she's working on it. As for me, I am at 6,627 words as of yesterday because I haven't written today yet, which gives me a cushion of about 2 days, which is nice. You have to write about 1,100 words a day if you're going to do it steadily to hit 30K on February 28th. Since it's a short month, that makes it a little more challenging, but that's a good thing. And you may wonder why all this emphasis on word count, 30,000 words. 1,100 words, whatever. Well, it's one way to keep yourself writing even if you don't want to. It's goal setting, right? So if you set yourself a goal of a certain number of words every day or every week, some people do it that way, it makes you put your butt in the chair and face down that empty computer screen. Because professional writers have to write even when their muse is not happy dancing, because we have editors and readers waiting for those books, right? So we can't wait for, inspiration to just sort of strike us. And just to give you an idea, my books usually hover around 100,000 words, although Gabrielle was much longer, to be fair, because I was doing all that world building and it was just a big story. And I had room, I had time. It was the pandemic, so I just let it be a big story. People are always saying, well, how many pages is that? Well, we don't actually use pages because pages are movable, right? So it depends on how big the font is, you know, how big the letters are, because you can adjust that up and down, and how big the margins are, how much white space is on either side, and how big the physical page is, because there are mass market paperbacks, which are smaller. There are trade paperbacks, you know, which are the size of my books. There are hardcovers, which are a whole different size. So we don't do pages. So I'm always sort of confused when somebody says, well, how many pages are your books? I literally don't know. I have to go find, you know, a hard copy and flip through and say, Luke's story is 338 pages. But seriously, I didn't know that. So right now I'm just over the 50,000 word mark for Raoul's book, which means I'm a little past halfway done, assuming the book is going to be 100,000 words, which is where my books usually land, thereabouts. Honestly, right now, I just let my books be as long as they need to be, because I'm self-publishing the Royal Kaleva series. I tried doing shorter books. My publisher wants shorter books. So I tried that with the consultant series. Those all are in the 80,000 word range, but it was so hard for me to just type. And I had to cut descriptions, and I had to cut back on secondary characters, and I just got very frustrated. So my publisher and I very amicably parted ways for the Royal Kaleva books. Someday I hope I can go back and work with them again. I really liked working with them, but they just had different requirements because things have changed in the publishing world. So that's why I am delighted to self-publish, because then my books get to be as long as they need to be, basically. I mean, I don't just let them run on forever. I still tighten them, and they get edited, and the editors tighten them even more. But, you know, there's a big difference between an 80,000 word book and a 100,000 word book. I'll tell you the truth. A lot of it is in the description and the secondary characters. So what was I going to talk about? Raoul update. If you have questions about Raoul's book, put them in the comments real fast, and I will attempt to answer them, although no promises, because I'm a pantser, and I never quite know where the books are going. But last week I told you I was at the fun and games period of the book, which is, you know, there's sort of, it's kind of a movie thing where there are certain phases of a story that you're in. And this is the one where, you know, Erica and Raoul are together and they're having fun. I won't say there's no conflict, because if there were no conflict, it would be boring. There are conflicts, but they're together, and they've been sort of living in Raoul's private spaces. But tomorrow, in the book, they have to go back to work, both of them. So these are the last few scenes of fun and games, and I decided, just for fun and games for me too, that do you remember Luis's spectacular private home that he bought from the crypto billionaire? It's called La Casa de las Nubes, the house on the clouds, and it's up, you know, on a cliff looking over the ocean. Well, I decided that there's a guest house for La Casa de las Nubes, and Raoul gets to use it. It's Raoul's house, and it's down, not on the cliff, but down on, you know, at the level of the beach. But I had to, even though it's a new place, I had to go back and review the entrance to the king's property to make sure I got the descriptions matching. And because they drive past the king's house, Erica catches glimpses of it. So I had to make sure that description matched. And it was fun to revisit Luis's book and remember his amazing contemporary house on the cliffs looking out over the ocean. And you can also see La Sorpresa de las Piratas, the volcanic cone that rises up out of the ocean. So you can also see that from Raoul's house. So I had to make sure I got that right too. Although it's off in the distance and they're not going there at this point, which of course they, even Luis went to La Sorpresa de los Piratas. Gail says, cool and exciting and enticing. Oh, good. I'm so glad it's exciting and enticing. But I was just going to say, this is the fun of world building. This is why building a fictional country is so fun for me, because I get to add on to it, right? You know, I need a new place for them to go. But I have to make sure that it still fits into the world that I've already built. And it's kind of like a puzzle that way, which is really fun. I like that. So I've been enjoying that. As I said, revisiting Luisa's haunts. Sally said, weren't a couple of your characters on the beach, different part of the beach? Yes, they were. That was Eve and Luis. And their beach is separate from Raoul's beach. Raoul's is also private, but farther down the beach. So, yes, but same general vicinity of beach. So, good for you for remembering, Sally. Thanks for asking. Yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun with this. As I said, adding to my world. I love adding to my world. But tomorrow in the book, it may not be tomorrow in my life, they both have to go back to work. And so, you know, this little cocoon of privacy that they've been able to inhabit for a few days gets blown up because, you know, she's Gabrielle's pilot and he's the prince and he's finally cleared to go back to work. And I want to tell you what he's cleared from. Sally says, but are they going swimming? No. Well, okay. They are going swimming in the pool, not in the ocean. And there's a reason for that, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. Sorry. But they're not going to do laps like you, Sally. Just recreational swimming. And something else might happen in the pool, too, that's not exactly swimming. I'll let you use your imagination. Okay, so that's kind of my news. Any other questions about the book? So I do have, there's more stuff on sale because we're in a new month. Now this is still on sale, the audio of Luis for $10, which is a 60% reduction in price. And it will be on sale until February 10th. So grab it while you can because then it goes off sale. Actually, my publisher has put like a gazillion of my books on sale, but most of them are one-day sales. So keep an eye out for Amazon Kindle Daily Deals because you may be able to pick up one of my books in those. However, for the month, we have Second Time Around on sale for $2.49. This is all sale on Kindle, of course. $2.49. This is the second book, actually. That's the first novel, but the second book in the Second Glances series, which is the Canine Angels. And then also, so this one's $1.99, right? Gosh, I can't remember. Yeah, they price them all over the place. So Second Time Around is $1.99. The third book in the Second Glances series, Second Act, is $2.49 on Kindle. But they're both on sale all month. And Second Act is the book that I did so much collaborating with Dr. Darling Daughter on, and she was in vet school at the time I was writing, and the heroine is a vet, and there's a lot of vet stuff in it. So she and her fellow vet students would get together and discuss, you know, I would say I need a disease that has X symptoms and the cat recovers in X days and blah, blah, blah. So they would come up with a disease for me or an injury or something or a condition. It was really fun. We had a good time. And her fellow vet students contributed, so that was very cool. And then for some reason, this was on sale last month, The Money Man. It's on sale still for $2.49 for the entire month of February. I have nothing to do with these sales. My publisher just writes to me and says, by the way, we're putting these books on sale, and some of them are going to be Kindle Daily Deals, and some of them are going to be on sale all month, and this is the price they'll be at. And I'm just like, okay, whatever you say. Because it's nice of them to promote them that way. So I'm always happy. Sally says, ooh, yeah. It's not ooh. It's Raoul's pool. He can do what he wants to in it, right? They may go skinny dipping, because why not? It's Raoul's pool. Right now they're eating lunch, though. So nothing untoward is happening at the moment. But I plan to have untoward things happen soon. Of course, I don't think they're untoward. I think they're fun and games, because that's where we are in the book. Anyone else have questions, comments? Nobody cares about the Super Bowl? You're like me? YouTube keeps saying, You can watch the Super Bowl for, I don't know how much, some amount of money. And I'm like, nope, no, thank you. No, thank you. Thank you. Putting pop-ups up. And I'm like, no, thank you. Don't care. Furthermore, the only thing I generally care about is the halftime show. And you can always find that on YouTube, like an hour after the game is over, which takes forever, of course. Gail says, how's your injury? Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. I just felt so stupid. Just skidding down the steps like that. Although, it hurt. But luckily I have a lot of padding, so the bruising it's still sore, but it's not, I really don't notice it much unless I like bang it into something. And my knee is always a little wonky, but it seems to recover from, it's not any wonkier than usual now that I've recovered. I did a lot of icing and some heating baths. So, but thank you so much for asking, Gail. That's really sweet of you. I'm just now, every time I go down those steps the first time, I'm very, very careful, and I test the surface before I step on it, fully. So I've learned my lesson, which is good. Good to learn your lesson without hurting yourself too badly. Sally says, are you getting the storm we're getting? If so, walk like a penguin. That's what I'm going to do. I did see we have a winter weather advisory for tonight and tomorrow, so it's certainly possible we're getting a storm. You never know. I mean, I think I was talking about this last week on my phone weather app. It's always saying, rain starting, rain stopping. I look out the window, there's nothing. It's a sunny day. Snow starting, snow stopping. No snow. Although we did get snow yesterday. Is it yesterday or the day before? Now I can't remember, but it's all melted now because luckily it got warm again. And yes, I will walk like a penguin, Sally. Sally says, yep, and then snow next week when we were, oh no, I'm so sorry, Sally. Well, hopefully they'll change that, right? Or it won't be a lot of snow because planes are perfectly capable of flying in snow. I've flown in snow, like sometimes pretty bad snow, several times. So I know they can fly. It just depends on, it's really more like wind that you have to worry about, right? But yeah, Sally, I hope you get out. And yes, I'll be doing the penguin walk. I try to be very careful, but I was just not expecting there to be ice. It wasn't an icy day, and I'd been down those steps a half a dozen times the day before. So who would have thought? Alrighty. One last thing. I will be here next Wednesday, but it will be at 7 p.m. Because I have book club in the afternoon. So 7 p.m. next Wednesday. I will post that on Monday, of course, because I always do that. And thank you all so much for coming. It was so great to see everybody here. And if you get bad weather, walk like a penguin, as Sally said. And I will do the same. Thanks, guys. Great to see you. Bye-bye.